네, 잠시 안내 말씀드리겠습니다. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? 잠시 후 9시부터 저희 개회식이 시작될 예정입니다. Starting 9 o'clock, we will start our opening ceremony. 참석자 여러분들께서는 행사장 안쪽으로 들어오셔서 착석 부탁드리겠고요. 또 원활한 행사 진행을 위해서 휴대전화가 진동 모드로 전환되어 있는지 마지막으로 확인 부탁드리겠습니다. We cordially ask all participants to make your way into the conference hall and take your seat. And please check once again if you set your mobile phone to a silent mode. 네, 잠시 후에 저희 개회식 시작하겠습니다. We will shortly begin the opening ceremony. 네, 잠시 안내 말씀드리겠습니다. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? 저희가 잠시 후에 개회식이 시작될 예정입니다. 참석자 여러분들께서는 모두 자리에 착석 부탁드리겠습니다. The opening ceremony will begin shortly, so we cordially ask all participants to take your seat. 그리고 마지막으로 휴대전화가 진동 모드로 전환되어 있는지도 확인 부탁드리겠습니다. And please check once again if you set your mobile phone to a silent mode. Thank you for your cooperation. See you soon. 네, 잠시 후에 개회식 시작하겠습니다. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guests are entering the hall. Please welcome them with a big round of applause. 여러분, 큰 박수로 환영해 주시기 바랍니다. 네, 잠시 안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 원활한 행사 진행을 위해서 사진 촬영은 저희 개회식 시작 이후에 또 진행해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 저희 무대 앞쪽에서는 촬영을 삼가해 주시고 저희 원활한 행사 진행을 위해서 이동 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다. 네, 다시 한 번 더 안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 저희 원활한 행사 진행을 위해서 이 사진 촬영은 개회식 시작 후에 또 진행해 주시면 감사하겠고요. 무대 앞쪽에서 이동 부탁드리겠습니다. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, our excellencies. Welcome to the 2025 KSP Dissemination Conference. And it is my great honor to grab the microphone before all of you for this audacious event. My name is Jae Hee-jung, your host for today's event. The Knowledge Sharing Program is one of Korea's leading international cooperation initiatives, sharing Korea's development experience and policy expertise with partner countries around the world. Through this program, Korea supports sustainable growth by providing policy consultations and building collaborative partnerships. Since its launch in 2004, the KSP has carried out more than 760 policy consultation projects and over 1,800 detailed studies, working closely with over 100 partner countries and 12 international organizations. Through these efforts, KSP has fostered shared growth and strengthened global partnerships based on knowledge exchange. Today's conference is held in conjunction with the APEC Finance Ministers meeting and serves as a meaningful opportunity to share major KSP achievements and discuss strategies for inclusive and sustainable growth with APEC member economies and other partner nations. We hope today's gathering will serve as a platform for collaboration where Korea's policy experience contributes to global development and where we take one more step together toward a future of shared prosperity. And before we officially begin today's conference, I'd like to invite His Excellency Yoon Chol-gu, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economy and Finance of the Republic of Korea, to deliver the opening remarks. Please welcome the Minister to the stage with a big round of applause.
예, 안녕하세요. 부총리 겸 기획재정부 장관 구윤철입니다. 오늘 참석해 주신 에두아르도 페드로사 APEC 사무국장님, 엉웬 반탕 베트남 재무장관님, 진심으로 환영합니다. 또한 이번 행사를 준비해 주신 한국개발연구원 그리고 한국수출입원회, 코트라, 카인드 관계자 여러분, 그리고 오늘 또 많이 참석해 주신 KSP 수석 고문님들과 국내외 연사 여러분께도 깊은 감사의 인사 말씀을 드리겠습니다. 2004년 첫 발을 내딘 KSP는 지난 20여 년 동안 102개국 760여 건의 프로젝트를 통해 한국의 발전 경험을 토대로 정책 자문을 제공해 왔습니다. 경제 도약을 위한 중기 경제 발전 계획이나 산업 육성 전략 등 핵심 정책을 협력국의 입장에서 수립하도록 지원하였고, 이들은 한국과의 더 큰 협력을 여는 마중물 역할도 수행하였습니다. 한국은 매년 KSP 성과 공유 컨퍼런스를 개최하여 이러한 주요 성과를 협력국과 공유하고 발전 방향을 모색해 왔습니다. 올해는 APEC 재무구조개혁 장관회의를 계기로 APEC 회원국들과 함께 이를 논의할 수 있다는 점에서 특별하다고 생각합니다. APEC은 세계 GDP의 61.3%, 거역량의 50.9%를 차지하는 광역 경제 공동체이며 한국 입장에서도 수출의 76.3%, 해외 투자의 51.6%를 차지하는 중요한 파트너입니다. KSP 관점에서도 APEC 회원국과의 협력은 매우 중요합니다. KSP는 그간 APEC 전체 회원국, 한국을 포함해서 21개국입니다만 그 중에서 12개 회원국과 함께 190여 건의 프로젝트를 수행하였습니다. 올해 APEC의 주제인 Connect, Innovate, Prosper 관점에서 이야기해 보면은 한국의 경제 발전 경험을 협력국과 연결, 커넥트하고 협력국가의 혁신, Innovate, 그 다음에 영내 공동 번영, Prosper를 이룩하는 데 기여해 오고 있다고 할 수 있습니다. 오늘 행사에서는 인도네시아의 전기차 배터리 재활용 관련 프로젝트와 페루의 원산지 증명 시스템 구축 프로젝트가 2024년, 2025년 KSP 성과 사례로 소개될 예정입니다. 전기차 배터리 재활용 관련 프로젝트는 한국 제주 테크노파크의 전기차 배터리 관리 시스템을 토대로 인도네시아의 국가 순환 경제 달성에 기여할 것으로 기대합니다. 원산지 증명 시스템 구축 프로젝트는 한국의 FTA 원산지 관리 시스템을 참고로 페루의 원산지 증명 시스템을 고도화하도록 자문하였으며 이는 FTA 활용 제고에 필요한 핵심 시스템을 구축하여 교육 혁신을 이끌어낼 것으로 기대됩니다. 앞으로 KSP는 세 가지 방향에서 새로운 도약을 이룩하고자 합니다. 첫째, 협력국과 한국의 지속 가능한 번영과 혁신을 위해 미래 산업 분야에 대한 맞춤형 지원을 강화하겠습니다. 경제개발 계획, 산업 육성 등 전통적 분야에 대한 자문을 넘어서서 AI, 디지털, 스마트 모빌리티와 같이 최근 부상하는 분야로 지원을 확장하겠습니다. 또한 협력국과 공동 기획하는 프로젝트 수를 확대하고 EDCF 정책협의회 등에 함께 참여하여 협력이 필요한 과제를 상시 파악하는 등 수요 맞춤형 자문 기능도 더욱 강화하겠습니다. 둘째, 정책 지원이 보고서에 머무르지 않고 현장에서 구현될 수 있도록 끝까지 지원하겠습니다. 정책 자문과 ODA 사업, 수출 금융, PPP 등을 연계한 패키지 지원을 확대하고 사후 평가 단계에서 실제 프로젝트의 이행 실적 등을 적극 반영하도록 하겠습니다. 셋째, 기후위기, 공급망 리스크 등 범세계적 현안에 대한 공동 대응 기반도 조성하겠습니다. 그간 KSP는 한국의 경험을 협력국에 맞춤형으로 지원하는 데 중점을 두었으나 앞으로는 한국과 협력국이 함께 배우고 함께 해법을 찾아가는 상호 학습 플랫폼으로 발전하고자 합니다. 최근 KSP를 통해 호주와의 수소 공급망 구축 방안을 함께 연구하고 정부 간 협력 방안을 모색한 사례는 이러한 진화의 출발점이라고 볼 수 있습니다. 오늘의 본 세션에서 이러한 방향성들에 대해 구체적으로 논의할 것입니다. 내 기빈 여러분, KSP의 본질은 함께 배우고 함께 성장한다는 데 있습니다. 한국이 과거 원조를 받던 나라에서 이제는 지식을 나누는 나라로 자리매김한 것도 이러한 공동성장의 길을 걸어온 결과라 할 수 있습니다. 최근 국제사회에서 지식 공유의 중요성이 강조되고 있는 가운데 오늘 이 자리에서 논의할 성과와 비전이 APEC과 세계의 공동 번영을 여는 새로운 이정표가 되기를 기대합니다. 여러분의 지혜와 경험이 더해진다면 KSP는 전 세계의 지속 가능한 성장을 견인하는 대표 지식협력 플랫폼으로 발전할 것입니다. 지식공유에서 공동번영으로 APEC과 함께 세계로 이 힘찬 여정에 여러분과 함께 하겠습니다. 감사합니다. 고맙습니다.
Thank you, Minister Gu, for your inspiring remarks. And before we move on to welcoming remarks, one announcement to our participants. We'd like to kindly inform our press and media representatives that you may now proceed to leave the conference hall, and we sincerely appreciate your interest and coverage of today's event. 네, 잠시 안내 말씀드리겠습니다. 이 기자와 미디어 관계자분들께 잠시 안내 말씀드릴 텐데요. 지금부터 행사장 조용히 나가주셔도 되겠고요. 오늘 행사에 관심 가지고 취재해 주신 데 다시 한 번 더 감사드리겠습니다. Now we will move on to our welcoming remarks. We will hear welcoming remarks from Mr. Eduardo Pedrosa, Executive Director of the APEC Secretariat. Please welcome Executive Director Pedrosa to the stage with a warm round of applause.
Good morning, Minister Young Chulku, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to address the KSP Dissemination Conference themed Bridging Knowledge and Prosperity for APEC and Beyond. I extend my gratitude to the Ministry of Economy and Finance of the Republic of Korea and the Korea Development Institute for hosting this event alongside the APEC Finance Ministers meeting. Your leadership in advancing knowledge-based cooperation is commendable. KSP and APEC are deeply complementary. APEC offers a platform for regional economic cooperation and policy dialogue, while KSP brings these ambitions to life through practical policy consultations and capacity-building initiatives. This conference coincides with the APEC Finance Ministers meeting, which aims to endorse the Incheon Plan, a 5-year roadmap to foster a more connected, resilient, and prosperous region. The Incheon Plan sets a new strategic direction for regional policy cooperation under the APEC Finance Ministers process, structured around 4 pillars: promoting innovation, deepening financial resilience, encouraging transparent and effective policy frameworks, and ensuring broadly shared growth. The plan highlights the importance of policy dialogue, knowledge sharing, and capacity building, values both central to both APEC and KSP. By aligning our efforts with the Incheon Plan, we reaffirm our commitment to a future where all can benefit from economic stability and progress. The impact of KSP and APEC projects is tangible and far-reaching. For example, in Indonesia, KSP's support for green industrial park strategies and credit information systems complements APEC's Energy Smart Communities initiative, which shares best practices for sustainable infrastructure and smart energy solutions. In Peru, KSP's work on innovation technology evaluation and SME support aligns with APEC's Startup Alliance Forum, fostering digital entrepreneurship and innovation among small businesses. And in Vietnam, KSP's contributions to export finance and public-private partnership legislation are reinforced by APEC's efforts in regulatory reform and structural adjustment, helping economies modernize policy frameworks for long-term growth. These examples show how APEC and KSP reinforce each other, using real-world case studies, peer learning, and policy innovation to accelerate regional progress. As we gather in Incheon, we are reminded that knowledge bridges ideas to action and action to prosperity in an era of rapid technological change, climate challenges, and shifting economic landscapes. exchanging insights and innovating together is more critical than ever. On behalf of the APEC Secretariat, thank you for your commitment to sharing knowledge for a more prosperous region. I encourage all participants to engage in actively shared perspectives and explore new avenues for cooperation. Let us capitalize on this opportunity to transform knowledge into tangible outcomes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Executive Director Pedrosa, for your warm welcome. Executive Director Pedrosa reiterated that APEC will do their best to pave the way toward a future of shared prosperity. Thank you once again. Last but not least, we will hear congratulatory remarks from His Excellency Nguyen Van Thang, Minister of Finance of Vietnam. Please welcome the Minister to the stage with a warm round of applause.
Excellency Yoon Chun Ko, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economy and Finance of the Republic of Korea, distinguished delegates. First of all, I would like to thank the Republic of Korea as the host country for inviting me to this important conference. In addition to the APEC Finance Ministers meeting, today's conference is a timely opportunity for us to take stock of the achievement of the Knowledge Sharing Program, KSP. It not only deepens the strategic scope of Vietnam-Korea relations, but also paves the way for practical breakthrough cooperation in science, technology, and innovation at a time when the world is undergoing profound transformation in technology, energy, supply chains, and sustainable development. Since 2004, through the KSP, the government of the Republic of Korea has supported Vietnamese government agencies in carrying out 42 programs and projects with total grant financing of approximately $150 million. These have focused on knowledge sharing, policy experience, and technical assistance in fields such as science, technology, transportation, environment, and finance, thereby significantly enhancing the institutional capacity of Vietnam's government bodies to advance modernization, industrialization, and digital transformation. Besides, Korean companies, particularly leading enterprises, have also played a vital role in Vietnam's modernization, industrialization, and digital transformation. At the same time, Vietnam has become one of the most important markets, strategic production hubs, and innovation partners for many Korean corporations. On this occasion, I would also like to respectfully announce that Vietnam has issued resolutions on breakthrough in science, technology, innovation, and national digital transformation development, with the view that these areas are the top important breakthroughs and the main driving force for rapid and sustainable development. With these resolutions, we recognize the necessities and urgencies of improving the capacity of human resources in managing agencies, policy advisory agencies, especially research facilities, application of science and technology and innovation in Vietnam. In that context, the Republic of Korea is currently a country with strong technological capacity and global vision, including many leading fields in the region and the world, such as semiconductors, clean energy, digital finance, bioindustry, logistics and innovation, digital transformation. Therefore, Vietnam always identifies the Republic of Korea as an important partner of Vietnam in cooperation in scientific development and IT. Thus, we respectfully propose that the government of the Republic of Korea, through the KSP and other grant projects, continue to support Vietnam in the following areas. Firstly, strengthening technology transfer, particularly in digital transformation, AI, data, and cybersecurity. Secondly, training high-quality human resources, especially in semiconductors and AI. Thirdly, cooperation in developing strategic infrastructure such as high-speed railways and new energy. Fourthly, promoting the application of biotechnology in green production, circular economy, and emission reduction. Finally, cooperation exchange and technical assistance in culture, logistics, and the digital economy. The Ministry of Finance of Vietnam reaffirms its commitment to working closely with ministries, sectors, and provinces of Vietnam to create favorable conditions for Korean and Vietnamese agencies and enterprises to jointly implement effective projects. These efforts will contribute to generating sustainable values and further deepening the shared interests, thereby bringing prosperity and well-being to both nations. I wish all distinguished delegates good health, abundant energy, and optimism as we look forward to achieving positive goals for the future. I wish the conference great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Ung Nguyen Ban Thong, for your encouraging message. Minister emphasized the importance of strengthened partnership between the Republic of Korea and Vietnam for scientific development and digital transformations for both countries. Thank you once again. And we've just heard a series of warm and inspiring remarks by our distinguished guests. And now we will move on to the keynote speech. It will be delivered by President Dong-cheol Jo from the Korea Development Institute, one of the key co-organizing institutions of today's conference and a central pillar of the KSP, leading global policy cooperation and knowledge-sharing initiatives. And please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and privilege to stand before you today. Let me begin by extending my sincere gratitude to all the distinguished participants gathered here, especially Deputy Prime Minister Koo Yoon-chol and Executive Director Eduardo Pedrosa, Mayor Yu Jong-bo, who is not present today, but Minister Nguyen, I don't know how to pronounce this last name, Van Thang from Vietnam, thank you very much, and KSP senior advisors, and all our esteemed guests from home and abroad. Since its establishment in 1971, KDI has been a key partner to the Korean government in formulating national economic and social development strategies. Building on over 5 decades of research and policy advisory experience, KDI has operated the knowledge sharing program, so-called KSP, since 2004 with the support of Ministry of Economy and Finance. To date, we have implemented more than 760 projects across over 100 countries and in collaboration with 12 international organizations. My perception of the KSP, which I had believed to be progressing so successfully, was influenced in part by Professor Joel Mokyr, who was recently announced as the Nobel laureate in economics. He argues that the true engine of innovation and growth lies in the institutions that build communication and trust between those who develop theoretical knowledge and those who apply it through practice. When theory meets practice and research connects to commercialization, knowledge turns into real improvements in people's lives. In short, we need a robust innovation ecosystem. In this sense, this year's KSP event, held alongside APEC, carries a special significance as diverse stakeholders come together to share ideas, resources, and practical solutions for implementation. Over the past 3 decades, APEC has played a crucial role in integrating global markets and strengthening global value chains. During this process, KSP has supported developing economies in participating in the global economy by sharing Korea's experiences of industrialization through international cooperation. However, the global economic landscape, as you are well aware, is changing rapidly. Digital transformation, supply chain realignment, and geopolitical uncertainty are challenging existing norms and reshaping knowledge frameworks. To remain relevant, KSP must also evolve from a program of knowledge sharing to a platform for co-creation and collective intelligence. In this context, I would like to highlight 3 strategic directions. First, we must move from sharing knowledge to shaping knowledge together. KSP should not merely disseminate Korea's past experiences, but co-create new insights and solutions with our partner economies. In a rapidly changing and uncertain world, value of knowledge cannot simply be transferred. It must be re-examined, reframed, and rediscovered together. Second, we need to engage the private sector more actively. Governments alone cannot design or sustain the new rules and innovations. Businesses, entrepreneurs, and civil actors must become core partners in building and operating the global innovation ecosystem. In this context, KSP must become a trusted platform for dialogue and cooperation among governments, private firms, and experts. Third, we must ensure that knowledge leads to action by building risk-sharing partnerships. But implementation always involves financial, technical, and institutional risks. In this respect, KSP should further evolve from a simple knowledge-sharing program into a risk-sharing partnership through pilot projects, proof-of-concept testing, and collaborative investments. Distinguished guests, no single country or institution can tackle today's challenges alone. Our shared prosperity will depend on our ability to connect and trust one another to expand national innovation ecosystems into a global ecosystem of cooperation and creativity. 30 years ago, we connected global markets. Now, we must connect global innovation ecosystems. By linking ideas with action, we can build a more resilient global economy. KDI, together with the Korean government and our KSP partners, will continue to work with the international community to build an innovation ecosystem grounded in trust, inclusiveness, and shared growth. Let us move forward together from knowledge sharing to shared prosperity, from just simple dialogue to collaboration, and from ideas to collective action. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Joe, for your inspiring keynote speech. President Joe's keynote was delivered under the theme From Knowledge Sharing to Shared Prosperity, Building Global Innovation Ecosystems. Thank you once again. Now we will proceed with the group photo session, and today's photo session will be conducted in 2 rounds. 네, 지금부터 기념사진 촬영을 진행하겠습니다. 오늘 기념사진 촬영은 총 2차례에 걸쳐서 진행될 예정이고요. 먼저 첫 번째 기념사진 촬영 진행하겠습니다. We'll proceed with our first group photo session. I'd like to invite speakers of the opening ceremony and main session to the stairs of the stage, and please follow the instruction of our staff. 네, 저희 직원분 안내에 따라서 무대 앞쪽에 있는 계단 쪽으로 이동해 주시면 되겠습니다. 저희 오늘 먼저 첫 번째 기념사진 촬영 진행하겠습니다. We will start our first group photo session. 오늘 총 2가지 포즈로 먼저 기념사진 촬영을 진행할 예정입니다. 먼저 첫 번째는 정자세로 기념사진 촬영 진행하겠습니다. We'll have a group photo session with a still position. Please look at the center of the camera with a big bright smile. 네, 저희 직원분 안내에 따라서 무대 위쪽으로 조심히 올라와 주시면 되겠습니다. Please move to the stage and follow the instruction of our staff for a group photo session. 네, 저희 직원분들 안내에 따라서 이동해 주시면 되겠습니다. Please follow the instruction of our staff for a group photo session. 저희 먼저 처음에는 정자세로 촬영을 하겠습니다. Right, everyone, please look toward the camera in front of you, the main camera, with a big bright smile. And please give us your brightest smile. 네, 가운데 있는 메인 카메라 밝은 미소로 한번 바라봐 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 네, 이제 저희 첫 번째 자세 촬영이 끝났고요. 두 번째, 저희 오른손으로 화이팅 한번 해보겠습니다. Now, we will make a fighting pose with your right hand raised. Yes, thank you very much. 제가 하나, 둘, 셋 하면 여러분들도 다 같이 한번 화이팅 해주시면 감사하겠습니다. 하나, 둘, 셋, 화이팅! Thank you very much. 네, 감사합니다. 네, 이어서 저희 두 번째 사진 촬영을 위해 3번만 더 무대에 계셔주시면 감사하겠습니다. We'll move on to the second group photo session, so we kindly ask our speakers and distinguished guests on the stage to remain where you are, and we'd like to invite some of more our distinguished guests for the second group photo session, and please follow the instruction of our staff. We'd like to invite the heads of participating institutions, senior advisors, and ambassadors to the Republic of Korea to the stage for the second round of a group photo session. 네, 이어서 두 번째 기념사진 촬영 진행하겠습니다. 연사분들께서는 그대로 자리해 주시고 저희가 헤드 테이블에 계신 총괄 기관장님, 수석 고문님, 그리고 재외공관 대사님들 무대 위쪽으로 모시겠습니다. 저희가 인원이 좀 많아서요. 네, 세 줄로 서서 저희가 기념사진 촬영을 진행하겠습니다. 그리고 저희 잘 보일 수 있게 어깨 사이사이로 얼굴 보일 수 있도록 부탁드리겠습니다. And to make sure that you will be in the frame, you have to find a place where you can place your face, like between the heads of in front of people. 네, 가운데 있는 메인 카메라 한번 밝은 미소로 바라봐 주시면 되겠습니다. Look at the center of the main camera with a big bright smile. 네, 밝은 미소로 한번 바라봐 주시고요. 네, 저희 똑같이 마지막으로 이제 정자세 촬영 후에 파이팅 하면서 마무리하겠습니다. And after this photo session, we'll finish our group photo session with fighting once again. 네, 이제 저희 오른손으로 파이팅 한번 진행하겠습니다. May I ask our distinguished guests to do the fighting with your right hand? 여러분들께서도 다 같이 한번 하나 둘 셋 하면 화이팅 해주시면 감사하겠습니다. 하나 둘 셋 화이팅! 네, 여러분 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. Thank you very much. Now this is the end of a group photo session, and please come down to the stage carefully. 네, 조심히 의전 요원님들 안내에 따라서 무대 아래쪽으로 하단에서 자리에 착석 부탁드리겠습니다. We cordially ask all our distinguished guests to take your seat. Thank you once again for your cooperation. And now, this concludes the opening ceremony of the 2025 KSP Dissemination Conference. And we'd like to once again express our sincere appreciation to all distinguished guests and participants joining us today. After a brief moment to prepare the stage, we will begin session 1, KSP for Innovation in APEC region and beyond. In this session, we will explore policy experiences and development directions from Indonesia, Peru, and Jordan, followed by a panel discussion offering deeper insights from multiple perspectives. So we kindly ask all participants to remain seated as we take a little moment to set up for the next session, and we will move on to session 1, and thank you for your patience. Now, we will begin session 1 under the theme KSP for Innovation in the APEC region and beyond. In this session, we will look into KSP cooperation cases from Indonesia, Peru, and Jordan, sharing each country's policy experiences and insights following the presentations. And we will also have a panel discussion to exchange views and explore further opportunities for collaboration. Now we will begin with the first presentation. Please welcome Mr. Krunya Russet. Now I'd like to invite Hyojung-il to the stage, and please welcome him with a big round of applause.
안녕하세요. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have a very exciting opening ceremony just before. We have 4 speeches that will be a very good preparation and foundation for this discussion. And I will not repeat all the contents made by 4 speeches. It's quite good for founding our ground for discussion. And we have 3 presentations this session and 2 commentators. Already those 3 presentations were mentioned several times in previous speeches. We have very strong, we have 50 minutes, and we are giving very strong time constraint. Oh, fortunately, we have 10 more minutes. Okay, thank you very much for quick and efficient procedure. It's rather awkward that we have no podium here, and each speaker will come this podium, make the presentation, and afterwards, and we will have 2 commentators. So please forgive us, it's not that way we are preparing. But I want to invite first Dr. Kuruna Rusad from Indonesia. He is a lead green cities and carbon pricing, GGGI in Indonesia. It's also one branch of KSP done in previous years, and also Indonesia has been very, very important partner for KSP between with Korea and other countries. In the morning hours, many speeches mentioned the upgrade and advancement of KSP from current status to forward. Probably this example will show how to proceed that process. So I want to invite Dr. Rusad to the podium. Thank you. Okay, come here. Yes, come here. Okay, we will change.
Go to next page and we'll check your mic position.
All right. Okay. This is next page?
Yeah, this is next page. Please keep the mic
Okay.
closely, please. Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Okay. Distinguished panelists, Mr. Yong Su, Ms. Claudia Guillerma Parasilva, Ms. Sausam Bawaresh, Mr. Ji Wong Yun, and Pak Bambang Brojonegoro, fellow participants in this conference. Let me first congratulate the sponsors and organizers of this conference, Minister of Economic Finance, KDI, KEXIM, and KOTRA to this event, and express my gratitude for inviting GGGI to speak at this event. I'm happy to share our experience as an implementing partner in the knowledge sharing program, or KSP. Specifically, I will talk about the KSP-funded project and policies to strengthen Indonesia's electric vehicle battery recycling capacity. I have divided this talk into three main parts. First, I will give a little bit of context in terms of Indonesia's overall development strategy. We will here see that the role of circular economy policies in Indonesia's overall development strategy. Second, I will present the main results of the KSP-funded project to assist the government of Indonesia in developing a policy framework for battery recycling system and the plan to develop 2 pilot projects. In the last part, I will share some thoughts on regional cooperation opportunities within the APEC framework. Let me start first by providing the overall country context in terms of the development policy planning framework. I think it is fair to say that circular economy is embedded in Indonesia's development planning policies. The key documents here are the long-term development plan, or RPGN, and the medium-term development plan, or RPGMN. The broad policy directions are outlined in these 2 documents with the following policy areas as priorities. Accelerated energy transition, green jobs, circular economy ecosystem, and sustainable forest management. Besides these 2 planning documents, Indonesia has also the National Energy Plan. This particular document emphasizes the development of electric vehicles in energy transition and further outlines specific focal areas, namely utilization of energy storage, gradual transfer of fossil fuel subsidies to renewable energy subsidies, and development of EVs and electric equipment infrastructure. All these development policy BAPENAS, or the National Development Planning Agency, has also developed a circular economy roadmap. And all these development policy priorities have been also confirmed by the President's Asta Cita plan, which include more specific policies such as development of downstream industries, skilled labor-intensive industries, and export-oriented technology-intensive production. So given this context, the KSP-funded project to support better recycling ecosystem development fits very well into the development priorities of the Indonesian government, especially as it applies a circular economy approach in the strategic EV and electric power sectors. The National Development Planning Agency, in its circular economy roadmap, has already a fairly good idea on how to conceptualize a circular economy approach across an integrated EV chain. We can see several circular economy opportunities across the entire value chain, including production, retail, consumption, end of life, and recovery stages. So BAPANAS, or the National Development Policy Agency, sees several challenges with applying a full CE approach in the EV industry. There are only limited recycling and treatment facilities. Therefore, businesses are waiting for the supply to increase, and EV battery could be recognized as a resource rather than a waste. Sorry. After collection, batteries should be tested for identifying further treatment, and there is a need to develop a collection system for post-consumer EV batteries. In terms of opportunities, a circular economy approach could result in brands and manufacturers work together with recyclers to treat the rejected and post-consumer batteries. Partnered service centers could collect batteries through a take-back system. Retail and distribution channels will be very well informed about the end-of-life management and communicate them to consumers. Consumers are facilitated then with a take-back system and incentivized to return unused battery to the collection system. So overall, conceptually speaking, the government has already a clear picture and has already started to factor in circular economy approaches in its EV industry policy strategies. Let me just give a quick overview of the KSP-funded project. Precisely to address those challenges and translate these opportunities into actionable policies, GGGI collaborated with the consortium consisting of the Korea Testing Laboratory, the Hyundai Research Institute, Jeju Technopark, to support this policy project. A study was conducted in the first half of 2025 with the National Development Policy Agency, BAPANAS, as our main government counterpart. The main result of the policy study are as follows. In terms of barriers and challenges, there's a lack of legal clarity and institutional coordination. For example, the current framework treats batteries solely as hazardous waste and lacks a circular economy perspective that includes management before and after use, lacks collection systems and recycling infrastructure. There's a low commercial viability and a weak collection system. For example, there's no comprehensive system in place to track the full cycle of EV batteries from production and use to disposal and recycling. And generally, there is insufficient technology infrastructure available in the country to tackle battery recycling opportunities. In terms of policy recommendations, the study proposes a three-phased approach. In the short term, policies need to be led by the government to develop an institutional framework for battery recycling. This will be centered on pilot projects accompanied by legal and regulatory reforms. In the medium term, action plans would emphasize to formalize a structure for public and private entities. And in the long term, the private sector will lead the value chain with the government setting a minimum standards and only providing oversight. To incentivize these actions, certain policy enablers need to be in place. For instance, extended producer responsibility, including eco-design, incentives and disincentives, a system of establishing a battery passport system to enable tracking, and making available standards and clear guidelines. All right, I just see on the screen I only have 3 minutes left. So I think suffice it to say that to set up an ecosystem for battery recycling, it requires complex coordination among various government agencies. These are just some of the functions various ministries have to fulfill to establish this ecosystem. Suffice it to say that the current framework is not very much coordinated, and there needs to be a kind of an integrated framework in place to make a functioning battery ecosystem, battery recycling ecosystem work, right? Maybe this is the most important part. The KSP study then recommended to take up or consider 2 pilot projects, right, in the next phase of this project, right? The first project would be to establish a battery collection center. This collection center would fulfill various functions and establish standardized processes. These functions include transfer and transportation, receiving and initial inspection, insulation resistance measurement, residual packaging discharge, safe packaging, labeling and storage, and handover and outbound transport. So regardless of whether you want to apply an EPR approach, in the battery sector, collecting wasted batteries, is a kind of a foundational thing to do. A second pilot project that is recommended is to establish a used EV battery recycling facility. The battery recycling center would need investment into infrastructure such as high voltage battery discharge service, battery module disassembly, industrial shredder, separation and powder processing, ventilation and dust collection, safety equipment. Right? I think at this stage, these two pilot projects are being considered. Going forward, there needs to be a decision which one to prioritize. So I think this is something which still needs to be consulted. I'd like to conclude with some very general remarks, about future cooperation opportunities within APEC. We know that that the APEC Forum recognizes circular economy as a key strategy to address environmental challenges. APEC has formally endorsed a circular economy approach since 2015, which, for instance, proposes the adoption of a bio-circular green economy. Since then, it has affirmed its commitments and efforts on policy coordination, facilitating regional strategic dialogue on circular economy issues. Specifically on the issue of battery recycling, there has been a study made by APEC which revealed that APEC economies represent the largest EV markets, with the top 5 economies accounting for over 70% of the global EV sales. Despite this, the supply chain still faces a number of challenges, resulting in low recycling rates and other inefficiencies. So there are a lot of cooperation opportunities to improve the situation. For example, APEC economies should promote research and development initiatives that reduce reliance on minerals from primary sources. Furthermore, circular supply chains will increase climate change resilience and also reduce investment risks. This can be done by creating mechanisms for joint investments among APEC economies with a focus on battery recycling and mineral recovery. For example, offering incentives like tax breaks for regional recycling facilities and EV production hubs can increase partnerships and help spreading best practices. And lastly, establishing clear standards and regulations are also important, as this will enable cross-border circular economy. The KSP initiative on supporting the development of battery recycling ecosystem in Indonesia could provide actually a blueprint for wider regional cooperation in APEC. So with that, I close my presentation. I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kurnalusad. I feel pity that I will not have enough time for you to present all the details, but probably in the afternoon session, we have another detailed sessions to explain KSP and EIPP. Thank you very much. And then now I want to invite Ms. Claudia Silva from long distance flight from Peru. It's titled about the traceability of a production process and verification of origin in Peru. As you see, the title is rather different from manufacturing or services. That means that the KSP scope is so wide to include this kind of software and policy directions. So I want to invite Silva to speak about this one. And she is a Director General of Trade Facilitation at Ministry of Foreign Trade in Peru. Now, floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, distinguished delegates and colleagues. It's truly an honor to be here in South Korea, a country that stands as a global symbol of innovation, discipline, and technological excellence. When we think of innovation and technology, we often think of the future, But for Peru, the future is already happening in every digital platform, in every smart logics process, and in every small business that dares to go global. Today, I invite you to explore how Peru harnessing technology not as a tool, but as a vision, one that connects opportunity, competitiveness, and global cooperation. This presentation is divided in three main sections. The first part provides an introduction setting the context for Peru's digital transformation in trade and the role of innovation and technology. The second part focuses on Peru cooperation with the knowledge sharing program. Finally, the third part outlines future areas of cooperation. Over the last decade, Peru has undergone a profound transformation. Peru currently has 23 free trade agreements covering over 19% of its total trade. But we learned that trade agreements alone are not enough. Competitiveness today depends on efficiency, traceability, and trust, and those can only be achieved through innovation and technology. Let me share one key example, Peru's single window for foreign trade. What began as a simple digital platform has evolved into a fully integrated ecosystem that connects exporter authorities and logistic operators. Through Peru's single window for foreign trade, we now issue certificates of origin entirely online for 19 free trade agreements, reduce paperwork and processing time, operates the certification scheme, certify entities, and approve exporters. This is more than the digitalization, and it is a cultural change, an economy that serves its citizens faster, more transparently, and security. As you can see on the slide, within the framework of our free trade agreements, Peru applies 3 certification schemes for issuance of certificates of origin: the certification by authority entities, the proof of exporters scheme, and the self-certification scheme. On the slide, you can see the number of the trade agreement that regulate these certification schemes, as well as the number of certificates or declaration of origin issued. Together, these 3 certification schemes reflect Peru's ongoing commitment to innovation, facilitation, and global trade competitiveness. As I mentioned earlier, the certificate of origin issued through the certified entity system are processed through the single window of foreign trade. As you can, the blue section in the chart indicates all the current functionality of the single window for foreign trade, including the issuance, replacement, duplication of certificate of origin, as well as the application for accreditation as an approved exporter. Regarding the green and the future section, those reflect the new functionalities that will be implemented in the expansion of the single window of foreign trade. Those functionalities include issues of certificates of origin under the self-certification system, the registration of origin verification documents, and the determination of origin. Peru has benefited 3 times of KSP projects, all marked by the great professionalism of Korea teams involved. One key feature of this program is their strong commitment to addressing a specific challenge identified during our collaboration. This morning, I'll briefly present 2 complementary projects that have strengthened the origin component of the single window for foreign trade as shown in the slides with their main results and timeline. This transformation would not have been possible without our cooperation with Korea. Through the Knowledge Sharing Program 2021-2022, we worked together in traceability of production, of process, and verification of origin. The conclusion of this program were provide specialized training in textile and agriculture sector to facilitate export expansion through FTA, establishing an FTA expert training institution, introducing the integrated FTA support platform. Our goal is clear: to build a new generation of professionals capable of managing digital trade with the same precision and vision we see here in Korea. The first experience inspired the next phase, KSP 2024-2025, with the project Strengthening Competitive of Peruvian Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise through Certification of Origin. This project has three main pillars: a preliminary feasibility study to development an integrated system of origin determination and management within the single window for foreign trade platform, a proposal for an education program aimed to promoting the effective use of free trade agreement among Peruvian business, and finally, capacity building action to enhance institutional coordination and support SNI in leveraging preferential trade opportunities. Together, this effort reflects Peru's firm commitment to advancing trade facilitation, foster digital transformation, and empower small and medium-sized enterprises to compete globally through knowledge and innovation. The main policy recommendations derived from this were: first, within the framework of update the bus origin system, the study recommends developing a modernized system and implementing support policies to expand its use among exporters. Second, the increased utilization of free trade agreements, greater government support is needed, along with measures to encourage exporters and train experts in rules of origin. Third, to strengthen business support system, it is essential to establish a comprehensive framework of governmental and institutional policies and enhance due diligence through the supply chain to ensure transparency and trust. Together, these recommendations provide a strategic roadmap for Peru to adapt an evolving trade environment where digitalization, knowledge, and collaboration will be key to maintaining competitive in the years ahead. Following Korea's valuable recommendation, Peru is implementing a new self-certification functionality within the single window for foreign trade system, educational programs tailored to productive sector on rules of origin, due diligence and traceability framework for exporters. These steps are helping our companies, especially small and medium enterprises, to operate with confidence, comply with global standards, and scale faster. This is the evolution from the manual trade to the intelligent trade, from paperwork to platform, from procedures to performance. What is the future cooperation? Looking ahead, the road of cooperation remains wide open. Our joint vision with Korea includes: 1, origin management, creating a digital platform for a small and medium-sized enterprise. 2, origin verification using risk-based system to detect non-compliance. Port management system for the Port of Callao, inspired by Busan and Incheon, bringing small logistics to Peru. 4, supply chain traceability, real-time tracking of goods from origin to destination, aligning it with international standards. This initiative will make Peru a regional benchmark in digital trade facilitation for Latin America.
Forward. Further. Yes.
Yeah. Before I close, I would like to mention innovation is not an end. It's a journey that requires leadership, persistence, and collaboration. Through the KSP, Peru and Korea have built more than projects. We've built a shared vision, a vision of trade that is open but secure, fast but inclusive, and driving by innovation that connects economies, not divides them. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you, Claudia. Okay. The subtitle or theme of today's conference is Bridging Knowledge and Prosperity for APEC and Beyond. So we have invited the Beyond region in Jordan, and Sasan Barawashi will talk about a green building project in Jordan. It's another area where Korea has contributed to green growth worldwide. So Sasan Barawashi is a major of energy efficiency and solar thermal energy division from Royal Scientific Society in Jordan. Okay, ready? Now, yes, floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be with you today in this important conference and share with you our journey within KSP program. My presentation will be around, I will give a quick introduction about Jordan, its challenges, then KSP results and experience and implications and future cooperation. Jordan relies on imports for over 70% of its primary energy, making its economy highly vulnerable to global market volatility. At times, energy import costs have soared to 8% of the national GDP, straining public finances. For the building sector, buildings account for over 60% of total electricity consumption, driven by urbanization and population growth. This makes energy efficiency in buildings a national strategic priority, not just an environmental goal. In Jordan, the National Strategic Vision, in response to Jordan Economic Modernization Vision and the National Energy Strategy, both identified energy efficiency and renewable energy as foundational pillars for sustainable growth, green job creation, and enhanced economic resilience. The challenge that was facing Jordan is we have key challenges, including the lack of a scientific baseline of building energy performance, the absence of tailored national green building standard, and an inefficient, untargeted energy subsidy system that lacked robust monitoring. And here the KSP program came to support Jordan and supported in sharing the Korean development experience in overcoming similar energy challenges during its industrialization. And accordingly, the program started. And at the Royal Scientific Society, we are Jordan Premier Applied Science and Policy Advisor Institution. We served as the consistent national partner across all 3 KSP projects. Our role was to provide crucial technical expertise in energy auditing, green building standards, and policy analysis, ensuring the international knowledge was scientifically validated and effectively adapted to the Jordanian context. The project journey, a 3-year progression from diagnosis to systematic reform. The Jordanian Korea KSP was a multi-layer engagement that built a coherent and cumulative policy narrative. In the first year, There was a focus on energy efficiency improvement in buildings. We participated as RSS in consultation meetings and simulation events. And the support was around energy efficiency improvement in buildings. The second year, there was a capacity building program, and our team participated in a study tour to Korea. It was related to green buildings training. The third year, it was related to designing a sustainable energy subsidy program. This collaboration was carried out in collaboration with the Jordan Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Fund. The Rare Scientific Society participated in the final seminar and was elevated to a core policy advisory role, contributing to the planning and implementation of advanced measurement and verification tools and financial reforms. The KSP collaboration produced a set of clear, actionable, and advanced-based policy recommendations. We are here talking about sustainable building initiatives, established climate-specific building codes with region-based insulation standards, developed GC Jordan, a national green building certification scheme, adapted Korea GC to address Jordan's water scarcity and promote local green materials, advanced policies towards climate-resilient, resource-efficient construction. The second year implemented a data-driven subsidy system to reform Jordan's energy subsidy framework, established a performance-based monitoring and evaluation M&V system to measure real outcomes, shifted focus from counting installed units to verifying actual energy savings and environmental benefits. Introduced clear KPIs such as emissions reductions and return on investment to guide policy decisions. For the third year, it was related to sustainable financing, which is very important. In Jordan, we have published the Central Bank of Jordan published the Green Finance Strategy, and we have great focus in Jordan about green financing. Here in the third year, we ensured the long-term financial stability of the Jordan Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Fund, proposed the creation of an independent funding mechanism to reduce reliance on annual budgets, recommended introducing a small legally mandated levy on electricity bills modeled after Korea's successful approach, aimed to provide sustained funding for renewable energy and energy efficiency initiatives across Jordan. One of the main achievements is that there was simulation that's considered the changes in the climate zones across Jordan. In Amman, we have moderate climate, while in Aqaba, we have hot climate. This was taken into consideration to tailor the green building and energy efficiency standards to Jordan case and climate zones. Okay, 1 minute left. As you see, just because 1 minute left, here we have Korea GC focus and how it was adapted to Jordan case related to energy and pollution, water management and material and resources. Jordan now experience with the KSP offers a replicable model for innovation-led growth that is highly relevant to the challenges faced across the APEC region. Digital innovation in governance, the proposed data-driven M&V system for subsidies is a prime example of using digital tools to enhance transparency, accountability, and efficiency of public spending. Fostering green local economies, the creation of a sovereign green building standard provides a pathway to reduce reliance on expensive imports, build local supply chains for certified materials, and cultivate a domestic pool of green certified professionals. Systematic energy transition, our journey demonstrates a structured evidence-based approach to building a comprehensive policy framework for energy transition, a common challenge for many APEC economies grappling with energy security and climate goals. Now, finally, with the new Next Horizon, the success of KSP has paved the way for a more ambitious phase in our partnership with Korea. We are excited to announce the planned joint research between the Royal Scientific Society and the Korea Energy Economic Institute. This collaboration marks a strategic evolution from knowledge sharing to joint knowledge creation, tackling next-generation policy questions with key research pillars: digital energy efficiency in public buildings, green industrial complex initiatives, and a vision for the future for the Green Hydrogen Demonstration Center. The success of the KSP is crucial to Jordan. And now the Jordan KSP journey has been a story of progressive achievement from technical diagnosis to institutional capacity and finally to systemic reform. The Royal Scientific Society has been proud to serve as the central advisory partner throughout the evolution. As we embark on the new phase of joint knowledge creation with KEEI, our experience offers two recommendations for our APEC partners. Adopt a long-term phased approach to policy innovation. Lasting reform is being achieved through a logical cumulative process that builds from a scientific evidence-based to institutional and financial frameworks. This ensures coherence and maximizes impact. Invest in partnership between scientific and economic institutions to address complex next-generation challenges like the green hydrogen transition. We must move beyond simple knowledge transfer, fostering deep collaborations between technical institutions like RSS and economic think tanks like KEEI is essential for creating the innovative and economically viable solutions for tomorrow. The partnership is a living example of this conference theme, bridging knowledge and prosperity. It has bridged knowledge from Korea development experience to Jordan context, creating a direct bridge to greater energy security, fiscal stability, and sustainable prosperity for our nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sasan Bawareshi. Your presentation is quite interesting in the sense that you mentioned you derive good implications and future cooperation for the direction of KSP. Especially, you emphasize from knowledge sharing to joint knowledge creation. What this morning, Dr. Cho, president of KDI, emphasized new directions for the coming years. And for the period of, for the meantime, they will prepare the chairs. And we will have two commentators. I will introduce them. Dr. Ji-Eung Yoon is the president of Science and Technology Policy Institute in Korea. And Dr. Bambang is a very honorable dean and CEO of ADBI. So we all, five, and yes, there are 6 chairs there. And that means the speakers all come out on the podium, take chairs. Okay. All those 3 presentations include technical issues, except that trade facilitation. That means Korea and world are facing the same challenges, regardless of the stage of economic development. In that regard, probably Dr. Yoon Jae-eung, president of STEPI, will make a good comment about the directions and the presentations just before. Now you have the floor.
Yes, well, thank you, Dr. Seo, and I'm really grateful for joining this wonderful 20 and 25 KSP dissemination conference today. And All the three presentations were well structured and clearly explained. Well, thank you for the presenters as well. And I think it highlights not only the technical aspects of the project, but also the institutional building issue, and linking with the policy and national policy agendas were very impressive. And for each of the projects were sometimes was sustainable, especially for Jordan. It was 3-year-long project, and also for Indonesian EV circulation system. I think it really has a potential for future growth, especially in Indonesia, as it has a very large number of motorcycles that also tries to transform into the electronic vehicles in Indonesia. And also for Peru, it was really phenomenal to note that FTA, a system, was trying to adopt digital technologies that can automatically and make the trade deals with also including for the sustainable growth. So all three projects were trying to deal with a global challenges, as well as trying to build up a national growth in a sustainable way. And to make a long story short, I think I don't have time to go into details for each project, but what I would like to suggest is that as we already heard from the keynote speech by President Joe in our opening ceremony, the key is how we can how we can make a private sectors to come in and make this projects to upscale and sustainable for a constructive market mechanism to operate in the future. So as we keep talk about the role of KSP trying to make our world better and nations to share knowledge to growth sustainably is a key. And I think having all three projects to think about in the future for how the private sector, private company can come in and operate in a very constructive way can be a very key issue for the future development. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yoon, for your very clear, concise comment on the three presentations. And so now I want to invite Dr. Bambang from ADBI. You know, the ADB and ADBI has been a long partnership with Korea and KDI Minister of Finance. So would you share your wisdom with us?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. So. Thank you for KDI for inviting me for this very interesting event. I think the three case studies of KSP already answer the mainstream of our future economic development, namely sustainable development, especially in the case of Indonesia about the ecosystem of EV battery, as well as the case in Jordan about the green building certification and financing. And the other future mainstream would be digital transformation. I think clearly reflected in the effort of Peru trying to promote digital trade. And since it has answered the future economic development, what can we highlight from these three case studies, especially for the APEC in the future? I think first, I just echo the previous comment in which institutional innovation must accompany technology adoption. I think we remember the days when developing countries are so hungry with FDI, You know, they really like to get FDI. I mean, Southeast Asian nation, for example, trying to get more FDI from Japan, from Korea, lately from China, and also from Western countries. And usually the requirement or the demand from the host country is technology transfer. And sometimes it creates political tension if some FDIs bit reluctant to give technology transfer. But in fact, technology transfer is not enough. I mean, it's good if we have technology transfer, technology adoption, but at the end, if we want to really build our strong economic foundation, then we need innovation, not only in technology, but also in policy. In fact, that's the weakness of majority of developing nations when it comes to the policy innovation. So in the 3 case studies that we just learned, I think what they are trying to do is to create so-called development policy ecosystem that consists of not only technology adoption, but also policy innovation, and don't forget the financing scheme, financing or investment scheme. Because at the end, you cannot rely only on government to do everything. You need to invite private sector. So public-private partnership scheme or any other scheme to attract investment will be as important as the technology adoption and the policy innovation. On the case of policy innovation, I think this is quite critical because sometimes we feel that if we mastering in the technology adoption, we feel that everything has been done successfully. But actually, it's not the case. To make sure that the host country will have, you know, a really expertise and excellence in the area, then you need to be able to create appropriate rules and regulation. You have to, not only rule and regulation, I mean, you might have nice and complete rules and regulation, but the enforcement, law enforcement is also very important. And sometimes we forget that the rules and regulation are not enough. We need to have strong legal and law enforcement. So that's the first thing that APEC can learn for the future. So institutional innovation must accompany technology adoption. Second, I think learning especially from the Peruvian case, regional cooperation should focus on interoperability. Again, this is APEC. And the initial idea of APEC is trying to promote trade among at least the member countries in Asia and Pacific. But of course, to promote more trade is not just about, you know, relaxing all the tariff and non-tariff barriers, but more importantly, how we can really utilize the digital transformation and to make sure everything will be interoperability. In the era of digital transformation, sometimes we are busy with our own system and we forget that we are interacting with other parts of the world, meaning that APEC can be like a consolidating agency trying to make sure that the standard built by each of member countries will refer to a common standard, of course, established by APEC, and then technology-wise, you can operate the technology, so at the end, we can ensure that the interoperability is there. So that's the second area in which APEC can develop. Third, this knowledge sharing program, again, is a very nice program, but it should evolve into regional policy laboratory. So maybe it has to be like mainstream or institutionalized within APEC itself. Of course, it's good that Korea initiated the idea with KSP, with in this session, 3 different countries, Indonesia, Peru, and above and beyond APEC is Jordan. But I think the APEC Secretariat or APEC in general can take good example how we can mainstream this KSP into policy laboratory. And we can implement this in not only single country, but in multi-countries. Then we can ensure that any best practices, good practices from more developed economy can be implemented in the more developing nation. I think that will serve APEC as a way to make everybody prosperous. So it's not just improving or increasing the trade, but more importantly, at the end, ultimately, you need to make sure people will be prosperous because of APEC itself. And last but not least, I think one area in which APEC needs to continue pursue is human capital. Again, when you are talking about this ecosystem, you are talking about technology adoption, you need the human capacity, human capital capacity. And we are talking about how to implement regulation, how to make good regulation. At the end, it's all about human capital. So above all the initiative that APEC could promote, especially through this knowledge sharing platform, I believe human capital is the key. So I think that could be my comments regarding the 3 case studies. Thank you very much.
Bambang, thank you very much for your very comprehensive and relevant comments and suggestions. I will give each speaker to speak on the comments just afterwards. And before that, I want to receive any comment from the floor. Any comment or questions or suggestions from floor? If you have any, then raise your hand. You wanna save time. Okay, thank you very much. Then I want to give time to each speaker for making your additional comments on. So probably, yes, Dr. Karuna Rulsa, you might first. 1 or 2 minutes, yes, brief comment, add.
Hello? Yeah. Thank you for the comments. Very constructive, and there's not much I can add. You know, maybe on the policy innovation side, I agree very much with Bambang that institutional innovation and policy innovation goes hand in hand. And probably I've done a little bit injustice to the KSP team in my presentation, because the report really outlines, several really constructive suggestions how to lay out a roadmap to build an battery recycling ecosystem, right? As the report really outlines, the phases, and the issues which need to be tackled, starting from registration, from collection, storage, classification, metal recycling and certification, right? There are certain phases which we need to be accomplished, and they developed a really nice policy matrix and a roadmap how in the first phase the government actually should focus on certain issues like providing data platforms, and then in the second phase the private sector takes over here in terms of having a role to play in meeting the standards set by the government, right? So it's really worth reading the project report on this, and it really aligns with what Bambang and also John said about institutional and policy innovation, right? So I just would like to mention that and add to that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, then I want to invite Claudia Silva. You may add some more, your idea.
Yes, thank you very much for the comments. I like to say Peru has been making significant investments in technology to enhance the trade facilitation, strengthen the competitiveness and customs operations. Our country has a priority the digital transformation. In its line, we are a project WUSE 2.0. This project enhance the digital transformation, with any service, with a lot of service for the single window for foreign trade. And I had a new challenge, that is the implementation, of the port community system, because this project connect procedures, private procedure with the entities procedures. No, it's a interoperability system, and we had to most effort to implement it in the medium in the 2 years, in the next 2 years, no, and I think, and I believe, no, about. It's very important to socialization the projects. No, in this meeting we know a project of Indonesia and Jordania, and the last month we stay in Chile. No, and we know a project of Chile and Honduras, República Dominicana, and it's very important with our economies. No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's why we organize this conference to go beyond, including APEC and beyond APEC. So now, lastly, yes.
Okay, I would like to say that for the success of any project or any initiative, you need to look at the technical, policy, and financial. These are three things that are crucial and very important to engage stakeholders. As Mr. Bambang, he mentioned that private sector is very important to contribute and participate. And this is how we look in Jordan whenever we develop any strategy or action plan. We have the National Energy Strategy, the Energy Efficiency Action Plan, and in each action plan, we engage all stakeholders from all sectors, from policymakers to manufacturers to the banking sector. I'm glad to share with you that at the Royal Scientific Society, we supported the Ministry of Environment of the development of the National Cooling Strategy and the National Cooling Action Plan. And we listed all measures that will support the reduction of cooling load in Jordan. And by that, stakeholders' engagement was really crucial. And accordingly, we are doing further more and more work on policy. We support also the development of sustainable and climate action plans for municipalities. We go to each municipality in Jordan. We study all the emissions from each sector. We recommend the measures per sector in order to support the municipality in its targets to reduce greenhouse gases. So here, if I want to talk about all the posts, it will take a lot of time, but in general, stakeholders' engagement is crucial, having the right plans, the right targets, and the right monitoring. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have plans, but the government or responsible for monitoring these plans, they have difficulties and challenges in collecting data. Mm-hmm. What is the data? And this sometimes requires M&V framework, the right M&V framework, and the right tools to do this monitoring in order to ensure that what you are targeting, you are reaching. These are my main.
Okay, thank you very much. In this sense, so I want to echo what Bambang mentioned just before, that the policy ecosystem or laboratory. We are learning each other. I've participated in many KSA programs in last years. And whenever I traveled in other countries, that's where I can learn from mirror image of ourselves. That's why we call this program as knowledge sharing program. So there's Dr. Cho, President KDI mentioned just before in the morning hours, we need to transit from sharing to creation. That's our coming challenges. Ambassador Ko is watching me to end up this session. I have to hand over my presidency to the Ambassador. But anyway, thank you very much for your attention, and I greatly appreciate all 5 presenters and commentators. I will carry on this spirit to Ambassador Ko. Thank you very much. I want to close.
Once again, we'd like to extend our sincere appreciation to our moderator, presenters, and panelists for their active participation and insightful discussion. Through this session, we were once again reminded that the KSP serves as a powerful catalyst for innovation and cooperation among partner countries, and today's discussion was particularly meaningful as it showed how knowledge sharing can translate into tangible policy outcomes and real change. Now we will begin session 2 under the theme KSP, an innovative platform for sustainable growth. And in this session, we will explore the future direction and role of KSP, reflecting on how, over the past 2 decades, KSP has evolved into a unique model of global partnership. This discussion will provide an opportunity to explore from various perspectives how the KSP should move forward amid global challenges and what direction it should take in the years ahead. And when the stage is ready, we will move on to our session 2. Now we will begin the panel discussion. First, please welcome our moderator for this session, His Excellency Hyung-Kwon Go, former ambassador and permanent representative of Korea to the OECD. Please welcome him to the stage with a big round of applause. And next, I'd like to introduce our distinguished panelists joining us today. We are honored to have Professor Chang-Yong Choi from Seoul National University. Welcome him with a big round of applause. Next, Mr. Gianpiero Leoncini, Executive Vice President from the Development Bank of Latin America and Caribbean. Welcome. And for the last panelist, Professor Gi-yeon Hwang from KAIST. Yes, please come up to the stage. Now that everyone is seated, I will hand over my microphone to Ambassador Ko to lead the discussion. Now the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I am Hyung-Kwon Go, and it is a great pleasure to welcome you all to this session on the future directions of the knowledge sharing program learning from the past and looking ahead. When it first began, the KSP, led by the Korean Ministry of Economy and Finance and KDI, was quite a simple program, mainly focused on sharing Korea's development experience with partner countries. But over time, it has grown and matured into something far more dynamic. Today, KSP is about partnership and collaboration, a model of co-work and peer learning, where Korea and partner countries work together to solve real policy challenges. And the scope has widened beyond developing countries to include advanced economies such as UK and Australia, where I had the privilege of serving as a senior advisor, focusing on joint learning and mutual innovation. So in many ways, KSP has evolved from knowledge transfer to knowledge partnership, from sharing Korea's past to co-creating the future. However, as you know, we are now facing fundamental challenges like geopolitical tension and the rapid emergence of disruptive technologies. Against those backdrops, we need to find where we are and where we should go. Today, we are very fortunate to have three distinguished panelists. Mr. Gianpiero Leoncini, Vice President of the Development Bank of Latin America, Dr. Hwang Ki-yeon, former President of the Korea Transport Institute, Professor Choi Chang-yong, Seoul National University. Thank you all for joining us. Then let's begin with our first theme. I would like to cast first question. Each of you has seen KSP from a different perspective. From your experience, what are KSP's unique strengths and limitations? Could you share one concrete example, a project, a partner country, or a key lesson? Mr. Leoncini is our first speaker. Please take the floor.
Thank you very much, and thank you especially to KSP for inviting us. Well, CAF is the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean. We are an important multilateral player in Latin America for the last 55 years, and we currently have 24 member countries where we work in financing development and providing knowledge and technical assistance. And I have to say that we deeply value the partnership with KSP and our experience in the last years. As a multilateral bank, we are present on the ground on 19 of our 24 member countries, work with each one of them, and we are especially aware of the importance of tailoring solutions to local realities. And this is where the approach that KSP is developing is very relevant, because it is demand-driven and gives space for mutual learning and co-creation. The program has shown particular flexibility and adaptability. We have had experiences already together in 5 countries, including Panama and Peru on vocational education. Recently in Ecuador, in Cuenca, related to data mobility, and we're about to work also in a project in Colombia on the circular economy. And in all these cases, KSP has brought very valuable Korean expertise to help local authorities facing policy challenges. So we appreciate the way in which we are working together, the way in which we can engage with local actors and complement each other with your expertise and our knowledge of the ground. With regard to the areas of opportunity, I believe we have a lot to do, but in a positive sense, to take the studies toward implementation. There is like an additional step that we need to work on, and for this, I think partnership with COICA, with Exim Bank, or KIND are very important. That is to take what we do with KSP to the pre-investment stage, and from there to implementation. So in order to amplify KSP's long-term impact and as a catalyst for development, to make sure that in implementation we also continue together until we get to large-scale projects which are financed by a bank like ours, by CAF. So I leave it there for now.
Thank you, Mr. Leoncini. I think that you emphasized the importance of KSP's adaptation to local realities and bridging policy ideas from KSP to implementation. I fully agree with that because I heard that the Korea's financial ODA organizations like COICA, KEXIM, or EDCF are facing some difficulties in discovering bankable projects, but linking KSP result to those financial arms may result in great success. Thank you. And then now I would like to invite Dr. Hwang Gi-yeon. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, and I'm really honored to take presence in this meeting. I think I'll rather say, instead of saying about KSP, I'll say which is the next stage of KSP, EIPP, which I've been involved for the last 3 years in Hungary. As you all know, EIPP is a comprehensive cooperation program that combines Korea's policy experience and technology with the industrial and policy needs of partner countries. It covers full cycle from policy design to technology demonstration and follow-up project planning. With 3 years collaborative effort in Hungary, we launched a pilot project on demand-responsive transport aligned with Europe's goals of carbon neutrality and smart mobility. Could you show us the pictures that I prepared?
Anybody?
Oh, okay, yeah. The pictures, pictures taken in July 31st in Gödöllőr municipality nearby the Budapest area. We launched launching ceremony, which is, I think, just for as our principal investigator, is a very just amazing moment, and maybe you can stop viewing it. This went beyond policy advice. It delivered real technology and on-site solutions. The key strength of EIPP is its public-private partnership model. Through Korea-Hungary G2G government-to-government cooperation, we created local B2G network, business-to-government networks that private companies alone could not build easily and quickly. Private partners such as Hyundai Motors Group provided technology and operational know-how, generating a strong synergy. Once this black hole company like Hyundai Motors Group successfully enters a new area, new market, related parts suppliers, software companies, and others can be more easily drawn into this new market and expanding cooperation toward B2B and B2C market. The role of this global automotive flagship company is very important considering its spillover effect in partnership countries. The project quickly produced tangible benefits, improving local mobility and enhancing quality of life for citizens in Guadalajara municipality. The DLT project, using AI-based real-time booking and dynamic routing, achieved average waiting time 7 minutes and walking access time 2 minutes. It improved the transport access in underserved area where buses came only once in an hour, reduced carbon emissions and cut subsidy burdens for poor local government through more efficient small vehicle operations. Moreover, this project created a platform that can link with EU programs like Horizon EU funding, opening new avenues for Korean companies to advance into the European market. Looking ahead, we plan to expand this private sector involvement and enhance institutional flexibility and integrate autonomous driving and AI-based operation systems to strengthen efficiency and sustainability in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. It's okay now. Thank you, Dr. Hang. It was a great example. I think your Hungary case vividly illustrates how KSP can evolve into full cycle cooperation mode, connecting Polish technology and industry, also collaborated by public, private, and international players. Your results show how KSP creates real value beyond the traditional consulting. Now I would like to invite Professor Choi Chang-yang. Please share your ideas from academia.
Okay, thank you. My name is Chang Yong-che from Seoul National University. I'm so honored and privileged today to be here to celebrate 2 decades of KSP. Even I myself worked for the KSP project with colleagues in this conference. Thank you for inviting me today. Well, today I have noticed very interesting changes from like a keynote speak and all others. The commentators emphasize that some shift from knowledge sharing to creating the knowledge. Because many underdeveloped countries, even Korea, there was national kind of strategy to copy and paste to follow up the advanced countries. So sharing knowledge means or implies there are some answers or solutions over there. So follow countries like copies and paste and then chase up those development strategies and so on and so on. But today it's very interesting and historic moment from copy national strategies to co-create knowledge, policies, innovations, and so on with all other countries So the world is changing now from the sharing or the copy to creation of knowledge. So this is the basic spirit of KSP being changed, I think. Well, always I emphasize like a three togethers of the KSP: to learn together, to design together, and to implement together. To my knowledge, that is the basic spirit of the KSP. Well, there are many successful stories, and we have been make many errors and mistakes, of course, within the 2 decades. But I would like to mention the 3 stages of the KSP. First stage, of course, we all know that the policy consultation. Policy demand identified by not just by Korea or not just by the one single agency. It's like based on like a mutual agreement. So the first stage is to policy the consultation, and second is key things like capacity building, not just for the public sector but private sectors. So after the KDI and other KSP partner organizations deliver policy consultation reports, the next thing is key, crucial components of the KSP, how to enhance the capacity of the partner countries. So then third one is to implement and design together, not just the policy, but how to implement and act, linked to the governance reform and implementation and so on. But unfortunately, we haven't seen the budget of ODA, and the global the environment change huge nowadays. So the timing is not that good, but how to make a synergistic effect from policy consultation to capacity buildings and finally institutionalization of those policy recommendations. And about the capacity buildings, Korean government and including the Ministry of Economy and Finance, Ministry of Education, and KDI, of course, we have opened many scholarship programs for international organizations and government officials, so on. So such as ADB and Korea fellowship programs. We just launched the scholarship program sponsored by the Ministry of Education Finance and Ministry of Education. So we invite public government officers from Asian countries. We call it ADB, Korea Fellowship Program, ADB, KFP. And of course, we have another big program of the GKS, Global Korea Scholarship. And we have 2 different types of capacity building programs, like degree programs and non-degree programs. So we are quite open to invite many partners from all over the world, not just from the underdeveloped countries. We try to invite, Professor Go mentioned, we invite not just from the low or underdeveloped countries. Now we try to invite Eastern European countries and even advanced countries. So please take advantage of these scholarship programs for your own countries. We have like 3 different questions now. So let me stop here today. Now, then I have second questions.
Thank you, Professor Choi. I think basically your comment is on the same line with President Joe's greeting remarks. Here he emphasized that we need to move on to reshaping knowledge together from mere knowledge transfer. And your comment was valuable, very logical, and I hope your project will be growing. And all 3 comments from our panelists were very rich insights on KSP's achievement and uniqueness. Let's now move to our second theme, how KSP can navigate today's complex global environment. As I mentioned earlier, political tensions and supply chain disruptions are reshaping international cooperation. How should KSP adapt to these new realities? And how can it stay neutral and effective amid global competition? We will begin with Professor Chess' perspective from the academia again.
Thank you. Well, of course, we have living in the world of two big issues like uncertainty, and then at the same time, everything is connected all together. So, but for example, we talk about the energy issues, and then water management issues, and many other topics from the KSP. But let me emphasize one issue. Well, for example, if we talk about the energy issues, energy is not just energy. Energy covers education, consumption behavior, and national security, and even many other things. So my point is how to collaborate with different agencies, even within the country. So, well, everything from pressure from the outside world and within the country. But my first point is how to work together with other ministries and other agencies. So in the name of nowadays OECD, DOC emphasize the spirit like a whole of government. Because every policy or organization is fragmented because they have their own interest and the organizational visions quite different. But how to work together, right? So that's one issue. And then second is, of course, the country ownership. The KSP, by definition, knowledge sharing, but two key principles of the KSP. First one is the country ownership, and then second is participation from the people of the country. So how to keep the balance between the top-downs from the central government to local government, even private sectors. That's the next the issues. And then the thirdly, of course, we mentioned many times today, like private-public partnerships. Government set the visions and policies, and the national think tank, like KDI and other national think tanks with partner countries, they design their policies and then directions and detailed plans and so on and so on. And of course, the private sectors, including the companies and entrepreneurs, they engaged in the process. So that's not the answer we have yet. But our future task is how to invite the government, national think tank or research areas, and also the private sector. PPP, we're talking about every time PPP, but in the real world, it's very challenging, right? Because the government has its own the muscles and tools, and then private sectors, they have very different perspectives. What's the visions and virtue of the private sectors? For example, like business sectors, they want to maximize their profits, but the government's the vision is not make profits. So there are very different visions and goals and interests. So the next key issue is how to keep the balance between or among the different stakeholders and actors. That's quite a challenging issue, I think.
Yes, I think we don't know how to weather this storm. Nobody knows yet, but I think you raised important questions. How to secure collaboration, coordination, or harmonization. Thank you again. And now, Mr. Leoncini, now is your turn.
Thank you. I believe indeed the geopolitical context poses a big challenge, but I think there are good news from the perspective of Korea and Latin America. Like a bank like ours is essentially a South-South institution. We only have members from Latin America and the Caribbean. We don't have donor countries and beneficiary countries. We are like a cooperative. Every country puts money in the bank, and every country gets support. Similarly, from the Latin American perspective, Korea seems like an ideal ally. You have huge soft power in Latin America, and I'm happy to say it here as a Peruvian in Korea. The image of Korea in Latin America is extremely positive and has no bias from any side. No? So geopolitically, we are called to work together. There is huge opportunity in this regard. And for an institution like KSP, the challenge is becoming more resilient and more responsive. For example, embracing more inclusive forms of innovation, not just technical expertise. And I think we are working in this direction, like the project I mentioned in Cuenca, Ecuador, is the third largest city in Ecuador on data-driven mobility. There was a lot of co-creation, of participation between the local actors and the Korean experts that achieved a result that was most satisfactory for the local government. And now they want to explore ways to secure additional support to implement it. So in this partnership, it's really the foundations for sustainable growth and sustainable transport that were laid. So I believe that KSP can work in more expanded partnerships, as the professor said, working with multilateral banks, with academic institutions, with regional work networks, local governments, to translate recommendations into long-term action. And as I said in my previous intervention, the more we can connect this to implementation pathways is what will allow us a greater impact.
Thank you, Mr. Leoncini. Your vision of KSP as a Polish innovation lab is truly inspiring, and also your suggestion on partner expansion of KSP beyond government is an excellent idea for weathering current geopolitical storm. I heard that some MDBs are facing serious challenges from advanced nations' contribution contraction. I hope you are not in that case. Okay, and then now I would like to invite Dr. Huang. You must have very practical ideas from your diverse expertise.
Actually, I'm not diverse. I think I'm just very much mobility-specific engineering background. I just want to discuss in terms of my position as a software engineer. When we look closely at what's happening in the world, and we face, as already mentioned by many speakers, very multiple global challenges. We nosedive into dystopia, for instance, geopolitical risk, rampant, even escalating, and supply chain shift motivated by US tariffs and China-US trade war is just getting worse. And we almost forgot about climate change. No one really much paid time for the reliving climate change crisis. These factors are rapidly changing my area, transport and logistics paradigm. So that I think simple economic cooperation or policy consultation is no longer enough to address these alarming changes in front of us. So that KSP also needs to evolve to the next stage. Going forward, KSP should move beyond policy consulting and become a strategic platform that helps create new industrial ecosystems. It must connect technology, policy, and industry all together. In the mobility sector, we need integrated project linking infrastructure with data, AI, electric vehicle charging networks, and autonomous driving, and even urban remote operation systems. Such integration can combine Korea's policy vision and technology strength, helping partner countries solve urban challenges while building new industries. Furthermore, KSP should also align with global trends like EU's Fit for 55 and carbon neutrality by 2050. We should strengthen international consortiums, joint R&D and follow-up projects for green and smart mobility transition. If we build a full cycle cooperation model from technology demonstration to commercialization and scaling up in areas like DLT, demand responsive transport, and autonomous driving, and AI-based mobility platforms, EIPP can become more than a just conventional cooperation program. It can act as a catalyst for shaping the future mobility ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hang. I fully agree with you in that KSP program also need to be well aligned with global agenda. We now have just 10 minutes, so let's move very quickly. Our last question is about AI. AI is transforming our world, bringing both excitement and concern. If KSP had remained just a simple knowledge transfer program, AI might have been replacing it completely. That's why we must focus on what humans do best, working together to solve real problems. How can programs like KSP use AI to promote inclusive, human-centered development? Could AI itself become part of KSP through data analytics or simulation tools for better policy design? Since the time is limited, I would like to give you, each of you, 2 minutes. Dr. Hwang?
Okay. I'd rather speak quite faster than before. Okay, AI is now deeply integrated into transport, logistics, and urban planning. Hungarian DLT project that I was involved for the last 3 years is heavily dependent upon AI technology to make dynamic route service upon real-time calls. The key question is not about technology itself, but how humans use it and within what value system. Hungarian DLT contributed to more inclusive public transportation service for the disadvantaged regions. KSP should therefore treat AI not only as a technical tool, but as a cross-cutting agenda connecting policy, industry, and society. In areas like autonomous driving and DLT, digital twins, and mobility platforms, AI is already influencing heavily policy design and operational models. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hang. Your idea of sandbox-based pilot project is an excellent path for KSP's next generations. And then now, Professor Che, please go on.
Okay, thank you. We are on the quite different environment or policy environment. Two challenging issues, I think, like a twin transformation. First transformation is like a digitalization or digital transformation. And then second transformation is greens. So first mission for us is how to combine these two big and challenging transformation together, green and digital. That's one issue. By the way, I would like to point out this point, digital divide. Well, there is no way to avoid from the AI because even in the classroom, I myself, I have to change my syllabus from this semester. How to adopt these AIs, right? ChatGPT, Gemini, all the students use those programs. So I have to change my syllabus, for example. But I would like to this issue, digital divide within the country, by generation, by gender, by education level, by income level, and so on. There are huge issues. And also the digital divide between the countries, because advanced countries or countries, they developed and they lead AI systems, software programs, infrastructures, and so on and so on. Many other countries, they just follow and they have to purchase those programs. So how to minimize this digital divide within the country and with other countries? So I think the KSP, there are many issues to tackle or minimize or address those digital divides with the KSP project in the future.
Thank you, Professor Cho. Digital divide is really a serious problem. The gap between advanced economies and developing countries are, I think, widening, mainly because of digital divide. So sometimes I dreamed that we need to establish a new MDBs for overcoming digital divides between countries. Let's work together someday to establish that MDB. Last but not least, Mr. Leoncini, please go on.
Yes. Well, I think that we have a big opportunity to collaborate with KSP on the topic of AI. And from our perspective, it's in supporting AI governance, helping countries understand how to regulate, deploy, and adapt these technologies is how we can work together for our common good. Because as you mentioned, from our Latin American point of view, the challenge is not just technological, it's also institutional. And many of our governments, in fact, are in early stages of developing digital policy frameworks, and we face these very significant technology and data gaps. So this is where KSP could make a real difference by offering policy dialogue, case studies, technical guidance on issues like data ethics, algorithmic transparency, or use of AI in public service delivery. So to conclude, CAF would certainly welcome the opportunity to work with Korea in this space. As a multilateral development bank, we want to help countries build the enabling conditions for inclusive innovation. And there is enormous potential for us to contribute to global norm setting on AI, especially from developing country perspective. So I hope we will engage significantly on this matter.
Thank you, Mr. Leoncini. You are absolutely right. AI will reshape governance itself, and KSP can help developing countries build digital capacity and ethical frameworks for their future. I would like to encourage KDI to dive into detailed talk with CAF in elaborating Mr. Leoncini's suggestion. I appreciate your appreciation on Korea and KDI. Now we have just 2.5 minutes, so let me briefly summarize today's discussion. First, KSP's core strength lies in trust, flexibility, and shared learning. Second, even in a fragmented world, knowledge cooperation remains a bridge that connects nations. Third, in the age of AI, human-centered and inclusive innovation will determine whether technology unites or divides us. Looking ahead, it is time to think about KSP Next, a platform that combines human expertise with digital intelligence, helping countries not only learn from Korea's past, but also co-create the future together. Before we close, I wanted to express my sincere gratitude to our three panelists, Mr. Leoncini, Dr. Hwang, and Professor Choi, for their excellent insights, and also to the organizing committee and the staff who worked so hard to make this session possible. Of course, I would like to appreciate all of the audience to be here in making this session successful and passionate. And finally, as I've just been reminded, launch and closing remark is waiting right after this session. So in the true spirit of KSP efficiency, I will stop here before anyone starts blaming the moderator for delaying lunch. Thank you all very much, and enjoy the rest of the conference and your lunch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And let us once again give a big round of applause to our moderator panelists for their passionate and inspiring discussion. Thank you very much. Through today's sessions, we have reaffirmed that the KSP is more than just a knowledge-sharing program. It has become a new model of economic cooperation and built on inclusive partnerships among governments, the private sector, and international organizations. We are able to truly appreciate the value and potential of KSP as a driving force for sustainable growth and mutual prosperity. And since its foundation, the knowledge-sharing program KSP has evolved into a bridge that connects policy, practice, and partnership, and it has enabled countries with different economic conditions and institutional systems to learn from one another and to pursue progress together, and not in competition but in cooperation. And what we have seen today goes beyond individual success stories. It is a reflection of how collaboration can amplify innovation and how shared knowledge can become a powerful tool for inclusive and sustainable growth. And may the collective knowledge and insights gathered here today spark new possibilities for collaboration and action. And as we conclude this meaningful day of dialogue and reflection, let us carry forward the shared commitment to build stronger partnerships and a brighter and more connected future for the next generation. Now, we will move on to the final segment of today's conference. And please welcome Mr. Kyung-Seol Min, Director General for International Economic Affairs Peru at the Ministry of Economy and Finance of the Republic of Korea. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
예, 안녕하십니까. 기획재정부 대외경제국장 민경설입니다. 오늘 이렇게 KSP 성과 공유 컨퍼런스의 마무리 자리에 함께하게 되어 매우 뜻깊게 생각합니다. 먼저 바쁘신 일정에도 불구하고 이 자리를 빛내주신 수석 고문님들, 또 국내외 연사님들과 관계자 여러분께 깊은 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 올해는 특히 APEC 재무장관회의 그리고 구조개혁장관회의와 그 일정과 함께 하게 돼서 그 더욱 의미가 뜻깊다고 하겠습니다. KSP가 이제 단순한 양자 협력을 넘어서 지역과 국제사회 속에서 지식을 나누는 협력 플랫폼으로 자리 잡았음을 체감할 수 있는 매우 의미가 있는 자리라고 생각이 듭니다. 오늘 사례 발표에서 확인하셨듯이 단순히 한국이 KSP를 통해 나눈 경험과 지식은 단순히 과거의 성공 사례가 아닙니다. 한국에게 KSP는 각국이 직면한 도전에 함께 고민하고 그 해법을 공동으로 만들어가는 배움과 실천의 과정이었습니다. 그 과정에서 우리는 서로에 대해 배우고 협력을 강화할 수 있는 소중한 기회가 되었습니다. 최근 국제사회는 공급망 재편 등 경제적 불확실성과 구조적 변화 속에서도 혁신과 성장을 계속하기 위해서 새로운 해법을 심각하게 찾고 있는 상황입니다. 앞에서 개회사를 통해서 구윤철 부총리께서 언급하신 바와 같이 앞으로 KSP는 오늘의 논의를 반영하여 국제사회의 공동 발전을 촉진하는 지식교류 협력의 플랫폼으로 더욱더 진화해 나가겠습니다. 국제사회의 다양한 파트너들과의 협력을 더욱 강화하고 미래지향적 의제를 중심으로 더 실질적이고 포용적인 경제 협력을 마련해 나가겠습니다. 세계가 직면한 기후변화, 공급망 분절, 디지털 전환 등 새로운 도전 과제에 대응하기 위해 지금까지 없던 지식을 세계 각국과 함께 창출하고 이를 바탕으로 정부 간 협력을 더욱 강화해 나가겠습니다. 이를 위해서 정부, 연구기관, 민간과 국제기구와 함께 참여하는 개방적이고 지속가능한 협력 네트워크도 더욱 확장해 나가겠습니다. 마지막으로 오늘이 논의와 교류가 KSP의 미래를 더욱 밝히는 밑거름이 되기를 기대합니다. 함께해 주신 모든 분들께 다시 한번 감사드리며 여러분들이 지속적인 관심과 성원을 부탁드립니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Director General Min, for your warm closing remarks. He reiterated that the Ministry of Economy and Finance of the Republic of Korea will make sure that KSP will evolve to a leading global knowledge-sharing platform to facilitate prosperous future. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes all the official programs of the 2025 KSP, the Seven Nation Conference. We'd like to extend our sincere gratitude to all distinguished guests from home and abroad, and to every participant who has been with us until the very end. We hope that today's discussions will serve as a meaningful foundation for the continued growth of the knowledge-sharing program and for the sustainable development of the global community. With this, we now bring this event to a close, and it has been my honor to serve as your host. Thank you very much.